Hello and welcome. My name is Vex, and today is Friday, which means we've got a weekly wrap up of things going on for Godforge, as well as a new Godforge Friday leak. And this one's pretty juicy. We got a lot to go over, so let's get into it. There's going to be there's going to be a Fateless video, and we're going to skip around and talk a little bit about Godforge stuff in a Skratch video. Skratch is another content creator who had a interview with Simon, and they talked about the game a little bit. And there were some tidbits in there, so I'll have timestamps down below. As always, this is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you want to be part of the gang on Fridays, it's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the link to my Twitch will be in the description. Let's get into it. So first off, we have a concept art for Amaterasu. Oh man, No. Amaterasu. There we go. That's such a difficult word for me to say. I don't know. This is super cool. I don't know too much about like sort of deep Shinto lore, but this is going to be part of the Kojiki faction. This is theoretically a legendary character that you can get. Amaterasu. Amaterasu. Yes, that's how you say it. It is considered the chief deity of the Shinto pantheon. Interesting. I'm curious to see which of these swords they'll go with. It seems to be like she's meant to be sort of shining. She's got sort of like sacred treasures and mirrors as part of her like symbology. Jewels. I really like this flame sword, but I don't know how much that reflects her actual like real life lore. But I think some cool VFX could be put on for that. Next up, we've got Montezuma. Interesting. So Montezuma is going to be part of the Saba faction, which is is it like the sort of Aztec faction, I believe? Man, this looks super cool. We took a look at the Saba faction sort of reveal a couple months ago, and it looks like a lot of the same motifs are in him. Maybe he's a legendary as well. Could be interesting to see, almost like Raid, where you have like faction leaders of just people who embody that faction like, wholly. It looks pretty good. It's got some concept art. Oh, maybe that's it for concept art. We've got a bunch of animations this week. Maybe we can loop it. Oh, so whoever this caster is attacking, and a giant fist comes out of the sky. You can see the impact crater on the ground. You can see the blue sort of envelops the person's hand, but they give like they keep their hand open as they smash the ground. It would be kind of a neat detail if they made the character do a fist as they hit the ground. I don't think you can see it here. Well, maybe they do. It kind of looks like they put their palm on the ground, but regardless, I think it looks really cool. I'm a big fan of these types of attacks where it's like, you know, a foot comes out of nowhere and kicks the character, or there's a big hand like Big B's hand from Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway, let's go to the next one. I don't know if this is going to loop. No. So this is a heal. We're a little bit zoomed in. Oh, it's like another fist, but there's heels around it. You can kind of see it behind the character. Interesting. There was a recent episode of, I think it was an episode of a podcast where they were talking about VFX and animation, and their philosophy on abilities and animation length. And it seemed like For basic abilities, they were at the 1 to 2 second mark. For epics and legendaries with their like secondary abilities, it could be up to like 5 seconds per ability. And then ultimates were like kind of free reign as long as it felt good. It is interesting to me that these are lasting so long, but you have to remember that this animation, no one is going to play the game at 1 times speed. Just like nobody's watching this video currently on YouTube in 1 times speed. And if you are, I'm so sorry. You should probably turn up the speed because it's going to take too long. Even Star Rail I play on, I think it's 1.5. I don't think they quite do 2x speed. But whatever the case is, I speed up the game so you don't have to watch super long animations and super long attack patterns or whatnot. Just saves on time. So I wonder if they're keeping that in mind while they're making these animations. Like, they can spend a little bit of time on them, but you also don't want it to feel slow or too quick when the game is sped up. I'm wondering if we can get some sort of like dev insight on that. Like, how are they feeling about, 2x, 3x speeds? Because I'm pretty sure in the beta, it's going to go up to 3x speed, which, most people will play the game at. Okay, is a team buff, maybe? Stairs are sort of open. I wish we could see it from the side. Stairs leading up to a doorway opens up and bathes everybody in some kind of buff. That looks really cool. It'd be interesting if that took place, like, I don't know, maybe it's a bit too much, but takes place like behind the enemies. So it casts them into, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like too anime. I don't know, looks pretty sick. Oh, you can see the golden ratio on the ground 4 times. Who is this character meant to be? They've added Pythagoras to the game. Okay, what are these? Ultimate Rough for Raw. Okay, this is just concepting. So we've got someone drawing over the screenshot. Like, he brings, like, an effect happens over his staff when he lifts it up. He brings it down, something happens. And then he brings it up, and there's a swoosh. And then it hits, and there's another effect going on. He hits the ground with it again. And then it blows up. It's an interesting way to do it. I'm wondering why does he bring it up and down so many times? Are we gonna get more? Oh, we get to see it. Solar caustics. So he has the power. He swings once. He swings back up, and that's where the wave comes out. He hits the ground. Boom! Oh, that looks really cool. I like that. Clearly an AoE attack. Yeah, I just don't understand the multiple swings. Oh? Oh, it's one continuous motion. So it brings it up. He swings it, and that's where the AoE attack comes in. The first hit. And then the smack on the ground. Okay. The concept... maybe I was just misunderstanding what was happening with the concept. That's pretty cool. Is that it? Tell me that's it. We don't get to see the... oh, no. That's all the leaks for today? What? We've got more. We've got so many more. Why wasn't it letting me... This was 8. Whatever, watching this one. So this is ultimate, so this is meant to be a little bit of an extra type of attack. Just kind of looks like a double hit nuke. Oh, he doesn't... Did he not do damage on the first swipe? Yeah. Maybe it's a single hit. Interesting. Okay, what about this? This is just a different angle. Yeah, I don't know if this is meant to be a single hit or a double hit. Because in the concept, it looked like the enemy wave was getting hit. Maybe they decided that it was either too broken or not aligned with the ability or whatever. I mean, that looks kind of good. Holy crap. That's a I can kill waves type of move, and maybe not a I'm good for a solo boss type of move. Okay, well that's it. That's it for Friday Leaks. Let me get the Fateless video prepared. That one's talking about cutscenes, and I get called out a little bit. Okay, new cutscene for Godforge.
Hey guys, this is Simon from Fateless. Really cool video for you today. I'm going to show you one of our cutscenes that we pulled together, which is basically a bit of a teaser trailer for Godforge, but it's also going to set the tone for how our cutscenes are going to run through the campaign storytelling for Godforge and kind of like onwards. So we had some previous cutscenes which we'd had done. Really cool, great visual, but they didn't really fit the tone of what we were trying to do with Godforge and the type of tone we were setting with the big cinematic, which you're going to get revealed in just over a week from now.
It's like 5 days from now.
We've worked with a new group. They really understand what we're doing. I think they worked with Riot a lot in the past for some of their work. And Mike, our Chief Marketing Officer, knows them really well. So we kind of set this as the first test, really, of let's set the direction. Let's do something which we can use for the collaboration we're doing with Method right now. And anyway, enough chat. Let's roll it.
The primal powers shattered the cosmos. From this cataclysm, a new reality emerged. One where gods
that was Athena.
And heroes wage and...
Oh my god. Get out of here. Simon, come on.
These legends must be conquered and tamed. A new pantheon must be forged and tempered. You will be the hammer.
That's pretty cool. Very parallax.
So it's kind of like a parallax visual. Yeah. Obviously, for the actual cutscenes for the game, there's going to be a lot more actual story and lore that's told alongside them. But that kind of like feeling of the gritty visual, the kind of like real decent fidelity of our heroes coming into the different visuals as well. Doing a really good job.
Pretty good.
We've got these great.
I like the color
moments in each of the different
tones.
freeze frames. In fact, I've got all of the freeze frames as their own individual file.
Yeah.
That we can use as kind of like assets really for websites or for content creators or anything.
I want to know who that is. This bat. Like, the designs on it make me think that it is part of the Saba. It's got, I don't know, maybe it's already been talked about who it is, but I'm not familiar with any bat legends in lore except for, like, you know, vampires that turn into bats, but, you know, maybe that's not
really, really cool. So in this video, what I wanted to do, firstly, I wanted to share it with you because it's absolutely awesome. But I also wanted to show you how we go about making something like this because, you know, like anything in game design, everything's a ton of work, right? So especially if you want to do it well. So what have we done? We've got this Miro board where we basically worked from start to finish with Light Farm here, and I've done a great piece of work.
It's so bright.
I'll share with you some of the different parts of how that plays out. So obviously we set a brief, and the brief is around what we're trying to achieve. Really for us, it was about trying to make sure that we showcase some of the different gods and legends that people might recognize, and some that people might not, but that were interesting visually. And ultimately, at the end of that sequence, there will be a kind of like call to action, go and sign up for the beta for Godforge. That's the idea of it. So we want...
It looks like, I don't know what this old dev is, but maybe this is cutscenes that they had worked on previously. So you get some screenshots of this Viking guy. I don't know who that's meant to be. Maybe that's meant to be Odin, because he's got like a raven there. Even though he doesn't look like Odin from Godforge. There's like kind of the same imagery going on.
Wanted people to be like, wow, this looks cool.
They did say, yeah, Simon did say that he's, like, they're working with a new company, so...
I want to know more. That's the type of vibe. So working it through with Light Farm, we basically went through a kind of brief. We went through some of the old work we'd done on cutscenes. Here's some of the visuals for those. I still will share with you some of the ones that were done before because they are cool in their own right. They just don't necessarily fit the kind of like tone.
Looks like a Magic the Gathering card.
And then we kind of went on this
Tauren
exploration phase. So it was really looking at dynamic visuals, artistic visuals that we liked. And Mike Berry is really, really good at directing this in terms of, you know, just these kind of like interesting moments that are captured in visuals, and just making sure that we understand the essence of what it is we're looking for in our moments. Yeah, what moments do we want to be able to portray in our different cutscenes and visuals? And you can see a lot of it is quite dark referenced. You know, this type of...
Whoa.
I don't know if this is The Witcher, honestly, but basically man against a boss type of vibe. Really, really cool. Just like framing. You've got this kind of
I don't know what that's meant to be.
Triangle.
Reminds me
bigger
more
triangle
of
boss, smaller triangle, I guess us, hero, right? So this
Lord of the Rings,
dynamic framing is actually really well done artistically. We then wanted to show off a number of our different heroes. So we shared a lot of our different...
Oh, wait.
Is actually
Did we?
really well
Did
done
I already
artistically.
see Bastet?
We then wanted to show off a number of our different heroes. So
I don't know if I've personally looked at Bastet. I don't remember. I think that she's in the cinematic. She was like versing that bat that we were looking at.
shared
Hippolyta we knew about.
different
I can't see the name of this character, but this character we knew about. Izanagi we knew about.
character.
Shamash we knew about. Esther Golan and what? Oh, these are real people's names who are working on this. This is for Apuk Boss Concept. How do we say that? How do we say that properly? Mayan god. Pooch. You say it like Pooch. Interesting. And that's going to be a boss?
Designs with the team at Light.
That's Athena. We knew about this Sphinx as well. Quetzalcoatl we knew about.
Heroes that we think
Thor.
could play out really nicely.
I don't know who that is, but it kind of looks like a rare character.
And
Freya
all of them
and
got
Pengu.
into the final piece, but it's just giving light farmer kind of idea of what we're all about at Godforge. So we then go on this exploration of, okay, who's already done this in the style that we like? And there's some Diablo 3
Pingu?
cinematics, Ash origin stories. This is kind of like Overwatch stuff, Overwatch
I don't know
stuff.
if that's how you
But
say it.
generally, if you sort of look at the visual here, rather than the sound and stuff, it's this kind of like drawn animation.
Oh man,
popping up,
Diablo 3 had some
parallax type
great
of style.
cinematics.
And I mean, there was a ton of them, honestly, that we just loved the style that these different
Blizzard did some for WoW
groups
too.
have done. And yeah, we wanted to come up with something which felt, and it's emotion, right? It feels the same.
Should we take a look at
Style
Simon's
that these
recommended?
different, groups had done.
Maybe this
And
is
yeah,
the real
we wanted
juice
to
for Ragewood to
come up with
put on
something
his
which felt-
website.
And
Let's see, Diablo 4 announcement cinematic. These AI VFX are revolutionizing social media. Diablo 3, it's over. Half of these are just Diablo. The other half are just like random political things.
and it's emotion, right? It feels the same or feels similar to that type of vibe. So the guys at Light Farm then went and just explored different images themselves, and they were looking at some MTG stuff here, and you know, this kind of like heroic, godly world.
Hang on, I'm going too far. I'm trying to figure out what the name of that character is. All right, we're doing it. We're going to the Ragewood Gaming website. We're gonna go to the Jade faction. Pangu. His name's Pangu, not Pingu. Dude. He's Pingu from now on. Dude.
So the guys at Light Farm then went and just
Okay, so this is much more my speed. Theros from Magic the Gathering is some of the best visual world building because it's very heavily inspired by Greek and Roman myth as a world, but they've done it in such a way that makes things feel so unique and so great and larger than life and like so much so far removed from Greek mythology, but still they have the same motifs, the same sort of like feeling of familiarity. Something about that stage in Magic the Gathering's history, the lore was just so rich, and they spent so much effort on the art. Like all of these gods here look so good. Nykthos, this shrine here is Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. It's like one of my favorite cards ever. Not only because of what it does, but because of the way it looks. And the lands are super beautiful. Like they're these huge full art lands. Like they're just so
explore
good.
different.
There's I'm going to give a little bit of a teaser here. I'm working on something that is likely not going to at least release or happen until May, sometime near the beta. That involves Magic the Gathering and Godforge. So stay tuned for that.
Images themselves, and they were looking at some MTG stuff here, and you know, this kind of like heroic, godly worlds, massive statues, that type of thing, larger than life. Really,
Oh, they don't have my favorite god. My favorite god is Athreos, the god of the underworld.
really kind of like cool
But there's Erebos. Oh, he's also super fucking cool.
visuals from this world. And then they were also looking at some posing,
Some
so,
hoplites.
you know, dynamic hero posing. This is actually a great image here. Look.
Yeah. It's like that card. Oh man, I'm gonna find that card. So we found the card. It's Defend the Hearth. I remember playing this card because it specifically prevents you from taking any damage. That's beside the point. You can kind of see the art come together with the rest of the card around it, and it's just, oh man, it's so good. Like the art itself is so good, but it's also on a common, so like it's not even on like a legendary card, you know, like okay.
Look at this one. Love that. Like I guess it's Spartans, but they don't have the sort of normal Spartan color. But anyway, that type of idea, just like this sort of dynamic shots. They also did some exploration using Midjourney, which is like an AI art tool. Really just
Yeah, the Magic the Gathering artists and art directors are always like top notch, absolutely top notch. And at some point, I'm gonna convince Simon to pick up Magic the Gathering again.
for composition, contrast, style of drawing. So none of this is obviously in the final piece. We actually use AI a decent amount for exploration. Okay, we do exploration on different art styles and stuff like that. Some of the stuff currently in the demo, for example, is done with AI, but it's either AI based on something that we've done to enhance it, or it's an AI placeholder image, so that we've got like this is the type of direction we want to go, and then the artist comes in and does the full work. But you can see here, like this contrast in lighting, really cool, really like that.
Called out for my recent video.
That the actual characters are pretty well defined, but then the rest of the world is kind of nebulous. And again, we felt like that is a good look for us. Contrast, again, really well done. This kind of idea of a battle scene. So just some really cool exploration work. This one feels a bit more Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that, or the Watchers. Like, again, just some cool imagery here to basically start conversations. So for us, it was about Light Farm presenting to us, this is the direction we want to go. And then we were just kind of like giving our input over that. So we then get to this kind of like very early storyboard and
what the heck?
Extremely early, like stickman drawing type stuff. And we start to map out, what do we want to do? So it's almost like this explosion. Then to reveal the explosion. So we say the primal power shattered the cosmos, right? That's the line. So you see this kind of like shattering, but then you realize you're coming in that it's somebody shattering a shield. And the shield is actually in our shot. We didn't know that at this point, but the shield is Athena with her kind of like Medusa shield. And we've got Pangu smacking it down with his World Splitter axe, which is a really cool visual. And then we're talking about, right, we want to make sure that there's a couple of recognizable gods in here. So we originally talked about Thor at this point. And then we wanted to make sure that there were female and male heroes, so that people that are kind of like coming at this for the first time, it's like, okay, well, there's variety here. And we wanted to make sure that we had different types of...
Wait, you're telling me that all of the legendary characters aren't going to be ladies? That's crazy. You're going to launch the game with like a bunch of male legendary characters? That's like kind of unheard of.
Mythologies as well, so it's not just all Olympians or what have you. So when we started to see this, it's like, guys, it's cool, but we can't have blood, right? And we can't have like spears going through people. Like this was the original shot here. And
so that's something that I want to talk about. I don't want to spend too much time on it because we've got tons of stuff to get through. Whatever. The blood in the cutscene thing, we were talking about this a little bit on Discord, is kind of strange to me. It could be that they just don't want any blood in the cutscene because they want to show it to like the broadest audience, so that people don't think, oh, it's like an overly bloody, gory type game. Oh, I'm not into that. It could be that there's no blood in the game because that's just the direction of the game. Everything is like, when it hits somebody, it doesn't make them bleed. They just have like a flare effect or something happen, which is a little bit strange because the game is going more towards a realistic graphic style. Like you would kind of expect that out of something like Fortnite that has a very cartoony look and no blood. Not having things stabbed through is a little strange when you're like portraying a battle, but like I get it. You're trying to just like hype things up. You're not trying to like shock people. But my bigger thought was, if there's no blood in the cutscene, there's a good chance there's not going to be blood in the game. And that's a forward thought because they plan on marketing this in China. For those of you who are unaware, China has very strict restrictions on games and what can be in a game, which extends to like bones and blood and things like that. There's a very popular one where in World of Warcraft you can play a character that's basically like it was an undead character. It's a risen corpse that has like bones and skin falling off and whatnot. But in China, you don't see any of the bones. It just looks kind of like a sickly human. and they've removed all blood. Even games like Terraria, which is sort of like a more child-friendly, sort of like Minecraft type of game, like bosses and things in that are a little bit more scary. They have lots of teeth. They have blood and bones. Those had to be changed for a Chinese market as well. So it could just be a decision that's like beneficial in multiple ways, but it is a choice. And this is the first time I'm hearing like a hard stance, like, hey, there can't be blood. And I'm wondering just how far that reaches.
And yeah, so anyway, we kind of did this kind of like first run through just in sort of Stickman stuff, and obviously we end on the Godforge visual. We then gave a ton of feedback, and then we started to get more defined elements. So this kind of like cosmos into what originally was going to be like a Spartan soldier getting smacked, and then this sort of visual of a fight. Again, we said remove the blood. Different imagery, like a Sphinx fighting a mortal, and we kind of land on this hero shot. So originally, the hero shot was your party, and you know, Aaron, who is our lore writer, did a lot of the lore work for Amazon, actually, for what's the game? New World, and a ton of other games on it. He's amazing, absolutely amazing. So he's doing our lore in game right now, and he's an awesome guy. He was like, hold on a minute, I really want to represent us here as us, the player, who's overlooking this battlefield as almost like the commander. So we did a lot of kind of...
I wonder if we're going to be called Commander. It's like very tropey and very samey in every gacha game that you, as the person who is controlling the account and controlling the characters, are called something. In Arknights, you're the doctor. In Nikkei, I think you're a commander. In, I don't know, Hoyo doesn't do it because you play as a character. But in these types of games where you don't have a character, you're just collecting characters and using them, the in-game narrator will refer to you as such and such, the commander, or whatever. So I'm wondering if we'll get that. Because it's kind of interesting whenever a new gacha game crops up. Their social medias or whatever will always be like, welcome, you know, interlopers, or you know, whatever whatever they decide to name like the main character that you play as. And it's I don't know, it just kind of always feels forced and strange.
Like talking about what that could
because they're all
like,
synonyms,
and this kind of like feeling of should we be big, and here is basically controlling our disciples. So we kind of did that, and it was like, well, do we want to go with this kind of like shot of the eyes of us, and then we kind of come back and see us, or almost like looking over the battlefield through our eyes? There's a whole bunch of conversation because it can get quite confusing for the viewer, I guess, if you try and get too much into a very small cinematic like this. So anyway, we kind of get a next round of timelines, and
this is really cool.
The guys are like, right, we're going to go from shot 1, explosion, shot 2, Pangu smacking on this shield, shot 3, this one here, and you can see we're kind of like pulling our way through the battlefield, which is very, very
one
cool.
big panoramic. So we're kind of
going from here into this wider shot, into this shot, which is all part of this overall bigger canvas, I guess, which is the overall battle. And then again, Mike comes in with a ton of feedback. He's extremely good at just kind of like highlighting specifics, okay? And he's talking about, with the original trailer we saw, like timing, framing of shots, started to suggest who the different characters should be, to really give us
I wonder how long this all took from start to finish.
We want from the scene.
It's crazy.
Was talking about the timing going from one to the next, and the type of cuts that we do. Really, really cool detail.
Galadriel.
Impact that we want from the scene. Was talking about the timing.
Maybe we get a Lord of the Rings faction.
The type of cuts that we do. Really, really cool detailed feedback from Mike. And then we sort of talked about this final shot. You know, what do we want?
Faction.
And then Mike just kind of like pasted in basically an idea of what that final visual should be from a reference here. And it was like, yeah, this feels good, but we really want, you know, this kind of like framing of us as the hero. So again, loads more work was done, a bit more exploration, and then it gets us to a point where we start to now give them the different characters from game, and it's like, right, these are the ones we want you to represent. This is going to be a reveal, actually, because we've talked about this boss a few times. Our Pook, I think it is.
A pooch.
In terms of pronunciation. Freaking awesome design, by the way, from Esther and
looks really sick.
Here.
That's a boss.
Absolutely. It's probably my favorite one so far. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. I was like, he needs to be in this little trailer. Okay, and in the trailer, he is in, I think it's this shot.
Oh, sure.
This is the shot, but actually in the final piece, you see he turns. He's turned on us slightly. Let's see if I can grab it quick. You see, in the end, we were like, we want you to see him. So we kind of just had his face turned here. I'd done a really good job of representing him. But yeah, super cool, honestly. Really, really cool. So anyway, yeah, he's in. And then we had Aya, Shamash, Gargamel, who's the giant who's being like beaten up by two, Shamash and Aya here. We got Quetzalcoatl, we got the Sphinx, and they start.
Kamazot. I'm gonna look this up. Okay, it's pronounced Kamasuts, and is a Mayan death bat. A spirit bat, a bat spirit at the service of the lords of the underworld. So I was right. It's going to be in the Saba faction. We've got to have pronunciation guides in game.
Start to sort of frame what these different shots could look like, and we kind of went through that as well with the team here. So again, very, very cool. The other thing we had to do was decide on visual, like coloring. So we knew that we didn't want it to be like a full bright color. That's not our vibe. But there was some talk about it, and I was actually quite in the camp of, you know, does a real kind of like grayscale feel cool? I really liked it. And, you know, what sort of, how colorful do we want the different tones to be? And again, it really impacts the tone of your final output. Okay?
Yeah, I definitely don't like the cool gray.
Okay, so all of these decisions are made along the way, and then we start to get to the point where it's like, right, now we're getting some real definition of the shots. And again, Mike and Aaron were just giving feedback on these shots along with me and the guys, and pretty much anyone who's involved in narrative. You know, we're deciding, do we want other figures in the background fighting, and these are like the centerpiece, or are we comfortable with just having the centerpiece as the main thing? And again, do we want background battles going on? Very cool, honestly. Like, this shot is so damn good. So you can see all of the work that's going in to then hit.
There's way more.
The final piece. And let's play it through one more time, just for fun.
The primal powers shattered the cosmos. From this cataclysm, a new reality emerged. One where gods and heroes wage endless war. These legends must be conquered.
Shamash.
A new pantheon must be forged.
Kamasuts.
You will be the hammer.
So there you go. I mean,
that's pretty good.
Honestly, I haven't even touched on the voiceover yet. We got a voiceover actor in, or actress in, and she came through with a couple of lines. She was like, "I'm now going to deliver it in like a charming way," and then she delivers it, and you're like, "How is that the same person?" Anyway, super cool. Like, really, really great to be a part of these type of things. Hope you enjoyed that kind of like walkthrough of how these are made, and yeah, hopefully you like the style as well. Let me know in the comments down below. I guess, how do you feel? If this is the way we're telling story, we're telling lore, are you on board or not? Anyway, I've been Simon from Fateless.
Nah, I think at this point I'm not going to play the game, honestly. Anyway, there's one more thing I want to get to before the end of the video. Let's get to it. Okay, so this is totally different. This is from a video. I'll have the link down in the description. It's a 30-minute video. I highly recommend you go and watch it. It's on Skratch's new Godforge channel. He had an interview with Simon, and they talked a lot about the game, showcased a little bit of some of the characters coming in. Simon talks about the menus and a little bit more about the weapons, even though there's still not as much clarity in the imbuing of characters onto weapons that I would like. That's not what we're talking about here. I do, however, want to talk about very quickly this next. Oh my god. Get out of here. Every day there's bots in my chat. Literally, come watch these live with me so I can not have bots in my chat. Anyway, they talk a little bit about what the plans are for launch in terms of character roster.
Yeah, so obviously you saw firsthand there bugs happen.
Yeah.
Quick reset of the game, but yeah, it's
Too many cheats, you know, that's why.
that's it. Yeah, too many
The
cheats.
Fisher King we didn't
I'm
take a
pretty
look at
excited. So, yeah,
before.
we're launching with 9 factions.
9 factions, that's cool. I was literally gonna ask how many factions you got.
So that's the bit I want to talk about. There are 10 factions, but only 9 are going to be available at launch. Simon says even in this video that he's perfectly fine with pushing things until they're fully ready to go. So I think they've conceded on making sure, like, you can push the game back to make sure that there's 10 factions, or you can focus your time on 9 factions and push the development of the 10th until it's ready and then just launch it later on. It's an interesting choice. It might just be a timing thing. I don't know how many of the characters they have totally done. It could. I'm pretty sure it's over 100. But they plan on launching with like 200 or more, which is like pretty ambitious. So maybe they're just trying to get as close to that number as they can. And rather than, put out a half-baked faction, they say, hey, let's just launch with 9. That likely means one of the ones that we haven't really seen anything from is going to be pushed until later. Let's bring back the Ragewood Gaming website and take a look at what the different factions are and sort of gauge them. So Aru, definitely, that was one of the main ones. Asgard as well, we know there's a ton of characters. Avalon, Saba, we've seen even a boss. Ikur is the one that I'm talking... Oh, it's... No, I got them mixed up. Sorry. I've got them mixed up. Ikur is the... Shoot. Oh, we saw Aya from that. And Shamesh. Gilgamesh. So maybe... Sorry. Maybe it will be Svarga. Oh my god. Never mind. We saw Shiva. Oh, Ganesha. I was thinking about Ganesha on the poster. I remember seeing Shiva. We saw Kali. I didn't know about these two. Uncommon characters. How many of the Viraj have they... Well, we know Dracula's fully done. We did a leak on that. I wouldn't say they'd go so far as to make him a fully rendered character if they didn't plan on having him in at launch. But Shamesh is in the game. We've seen that. Gilgamesh looks like he's in the game in that. So it's probably Svarga, because we've seen the least progress on these characters. We've seen at least 3D of all of the others in some form, or like they're in the cutscene. So I don't know. It's strange that this is the place where we find out that they're launching with 9 factions, but we can kind of always glean info from whatever video we're watching that's related to Godforge. And I hope we get a little bit more info before the beta comes out. Maybe we'll know which factions are going to be in the game when the beta finally drops and we can play it. But who knows? Anyway, that's it for me. All the links for these videos will be in the description. Go and give them some love. Take a look. This video is pretty informative. If you're looking to catch up, I think Skratch hadn't really been paying attention to like or at least keeping up with Godforge in its development. And this is sort of like a refresher as he made a new YouTube channel for this. So the link for this will be in the description, as well as a link to Twitch, where you can watch along with us. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.